The Chicago Bears, Ryan Pohl and Ian Cunningham spent some time this past few weeks at the Senior Bowl looking at certain positions, spending a lot of time looking at the offensive line and defensive line. It's being reported that Pohl slipped away to check out the running backs. So, in today's episode, before we dive into the mailbag, we're going to talk about where should the Chicago Bears priorities lie while heading into the NFL draft. Y'all know me and Cdub are going to talk about it, break it all down, but of course, you already know you gotta hear the music first.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears. You are tuned in with me, Bobby, and I'm joined by my co-host, Cdub. What's the word?
What up? What up? Let's get it.
Hey, if y'all tuned in with us, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. Now, for those that are getting prepared and looking at prospects like us over here on Chicago Bears Central, we got a lot of intriguing prospects. But for the Chicago Bears, they've been paying a lot of attention to those trenches for the team. They've been looking at offensive line, defensive line, and it is being reported by Nicholas Moreno that while he was down there viewing things at the Senior Bowl, that Ryan Pohl stepped away from looking at those guys in the trenches to look at some of the running backs that was partaking in some of the drills down there in Senior Bowl. So for us, we want to see where the priority should lie for the Chicago Bears. Cdub, where should the priorities lie for the Chicago Bears heading into the draft, even though we got some months before we get there?
I think the priority for the Chicago Bears should be obvious for this front office of the Chicago Bears. They should be looking exclusively at the trenches, me specifically, the offensive line. Any other place where you set your eyes will be a fireable offense to me, especially if you don't do anything in the free agency market. You got too many players, too many running backs that you can fall back upon in the later rounds. You got the two boys from Ohio State. You got some other guys out there with some talent. Running back is not the same as it was before. I'm sure we don't have to keep saying that. Everybody knows the value of a running back has dwindled a little bit. Shout out to Saquon though. But if we're not looking at Will Campbell and Tyler Booker and Armand Mimbu and Kelvin Banks Jr. or somebody in that ilk, you're really not doing your job. It's just strictly and exclusively be in the trenches. And in my opinion, the offensive line.
I agree with that. I think that the Chicago Bears priority should absolutely be looking at that running back spot, but that doesn't necessarily that should be number one on your list. If we're talking about what should be number one on the list, I'm gonna agree with you, Cdub. That should be something in the trenches. Even if you go out there and let's just say, for the sake of discussion, you go out there and sign 2 offensive linemen, I believe that you go into the draft and you should be looking at some type of lineman, whether that's on the defensive side or the offensive side. I seen something today. Somebody was like, we should cut DeMarcus Walker. I thought they was crazy as hell because I'm like, who you gonna replace him with? Wow. That was my number one thing. But then I look at certain things and I say, going through the prospects of running backs while I'm going through my list and I'm looking at a number of guys, I'm looking at some guys that look virtually the same. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. Ashton Jeanty is number one. Right? Yeah. Like, we're not going to be crazy. We're not going to act stupid and say that he's not. But right after that, Everybody's compacted in a small can of sardines.
Yep.
That's how everybody else is packed in. You got some guys that bring a little bit more juice than others, in my personal opinion. But when you look at those guys that you talked about, you know what I'm saying? And Juckins from Ohio State, I think he'll be an amazing running back for the
Yeah.
Chicago Bears. Not saying that he's going to go and be a Pro Bowl type running back, but I believe that he has enough juice that he can provide some type of burst for the Chicago Bears. That's like one of the guys that I looked at. I know a lot of people are sold on Caleb Johnson. Me personally, I believe he needs a little bit more shiftiness in his run style. Me per se, I'm not saying he's not physical, he's not good. I'm just saying in the NFL, those lanes that might open up in college are not going to be visible or not going to be there as often as they would be in a college game. So some running backs have to have that shiftiness. I wouldn't be mad if the Chicago Bears look at some running backs, but I will be looking at the Chicago Bears sideways if they come into the draft and say, "Hey, we're gonna take Ashton Genty number 10." I wouldn't necessarily be upset, but I will question it. And I will definitely have my eyes placed on the rest of the draft and really look at how does that make sense for the Chicago Bears after we experience the free agency. So it's gonna be interesting, but I still think the priority should lie within the trenches because that, in my mind, is the difference between 5 games this season and what could be 10, 11 games, 12 games next season.
And Nicholas Moreno said he Ryan Poles dipped off and took a look at Ashton, right?
You just said running backs. You never
You just
said
said
who
running back.
specifically.
Oh, okay. Well, we do. I don't even think we should blow that out of proportion because when I bring out my draft projections, I'm definitely gonna have a running back in there, and I'll just break it right now. I want one of the Ohio State guys, Henderson or Junkins. So it's okay. That's not much of a story. That's pretty good. He's doing his job. I thought he was like going to look at Ashton Genty or something. Then I'll have a problem. Get your ass away from over there, Ryan Poles. Get away.
Yeah, I think it's something that's interesting. I think that me personally, and just to add on when it comes to the priorities, I think the Chicago Bears need to add a wide receiver number 3.
I
Me
agree.
personally,
I agree.
I'm looking at guys like, hey, I ain't gonna lie, little buddy from Miami, Xavier Restrepo. He
Restrepo, I've
nice.
been saying it.
He
Yes.
nice. He
He
nice.
nice.
He ain't no bum. But I got a couple guys that I like. Tej Johnson from Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think the Bears are gonna be able to get him, but Luther Burden, y'all
All from
excuse me on that.
Missouri.
Yeah,
Luther
out of
Burke.
Missouri. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I think those are two good people that I like, but I think there's some really, really good talent in the wide receiver core from just about every school. Well, not every school, but the top schools. You can find players here and there that could potentially play the slot for you. And I think that's one of the priorities that the Bears need to look at because I wouldn't take Keenan Allen back. I don't want to pay Keenan Allen 20
No,
million. I don't want to pay Keenan Allen 15 million. Now, if you say we can get Keenan Allen at 9, 8, yeah, but it's not gonna
it's not
happen.
gonna happen.
So I will be looking for the Chicago Bears to look at what solutions do you have in the slot, unless you're gonna say DJ Moore is there, and then you look at other guys who can play on the outside, maybe a Tej Johnson or something like that from Oregon, or some other prospects that might be out there. But I think after you address the offensive line and you add on to running back, you have to address your wide receiver number 3. Me personally.
Yeah, and I know he don't fit the mold as a third wide receiver, as your slot receiver, but T Mac. Well, you think T Mac from Arizona could go? He started the season amazing. I think he
Oh,
had
he one of
300
the
yards.
highest ranking wide receivers. I don't think the Bears have a chance.
He's a
Me
lottery guy.
personally. Yeah, well, not NFL, not necessarily lottery, but I still think that the Bears don't have a chance.
Okay.
Me personally.
I like T Mac though.
He is nice though,
Yeah,
but I don't think the Bears have a chance.
yeah.
Me
It's gonna be
personally.
interesting. What percentage do you get a Bears they would try to get Ashton Genty because he hanging around. A lot of people got him projected around what we gonna draft.
Yeah, I think it's mostly based on what happens in free agency. Like a lot of people got us saying that we gonna get Trey Smith, and I would love for the Bears to get Trey Smith. But what if Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes restructure that deal?
Yeah.
You think he gonna leave or you think he gonna leave a team to where he has a chance to win? And maybe let's just say, for the sake of discussion, Tyreek Hill left the Kansas City Chiefs because the Miami Dolphins gave him $5 more million per year. How
Mm-hmm.
does Tyreek Hill feel now?
You don't
He
feel
was
that
just
good?
bitching at the end of the season, talking about some, I'm out of here. I got to do the best thing for my family. So if Trey Smith is a smart guy and Patrick Mahomes restructure that contract and they offer him something that's decent, that's respectable, and you got a chance to keep going to championships and conference championships,
You
you could
might stay.
potentially stay.
Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage all of us Bears fans to not get hung up on said players that's going to be free agents. We have to see what happens in free agents, personally.
Yeah, that's real fucking talk right there, bro. That is real talk, and I think the Bears Nation needed to hear that because I think a lot of people are dead set that we're going to acquire this guy. Like he might win a Super Bowl, and that can change attitudes and choices depending on the outcome of that said game. So that's real talk from you, nephew. They needed that. We
Cdub,
needed that.
last point before we get into the mailbag. Think about if Tyreek Hill would have just stayed.
Oh my goodness.
Think about if he would have just stayed. I'm just saying, you could be literally on the verge of a three-peat.
Yep.
But instead, you're depending on that weak ass arm Tua Tagovailoa
Mm-hmm.
and a coach that's damn near over his head at this point in his coaching career with the Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniels. Tua is not that, and y'all paid him, so y'all locked in with him.
Yeah.
So that's why Tyreek Hill is crashing out. And if he stayed with the Kansas City Chiefs, you can literally be making NFL history. And this the last point before we continue on, and you get your final thoughts before we move on into the mailbag. Antonio Brown fucked up a Hall of Fame career by storming off the field. Tyreek Hill has potentially done the same thing by storming his ass all the way down to Miami.
Yep.
Just my personal thought.
Yeah, it is. It is equivalent. It's equivalent. Absolutely, nephew. You cooking today, bro?
I'm
Cooking.
just saying. But hey,
Cooking.
I'm
Oh,
just
bro.
saying. But hey, y'all let us know how y'all feel about all those thoughts down below.
NFL
Where
Central on the way.
NFL Central is on the way. Y'all stay in tune. We ain't want to make no announcements, but y'all stay in tune. Make sure
Oh,
y'all be
bro.
ready and tuned in for that. It's a lot more to come for the network. But
Yeah.
hey, after that, let us know how y'all feeling. Now it's time to get into the mailbag. We got 4 voicemails on the day. Cdub, we're going to kick this thing off with the first voicemail coming from Keys.
Yo,
Key.
yo, yo, what's up, CBC? It's your boy Keys, man, on this lovely Friday, man. Hope you guys out there being safe and getting to your families. But man, let's go over this, bro. Just looking at this draft and looking at these players, man. Been really into the Senior Bowl, and let me tell you, the stock of Gray Zabel from North Dakota State, I think he could be a true not only starter, but still in the draft from the smaller schools or the kids that may not be the biggest from the bigger schools, regardless of the fact, I think he can come in and that'll be our starting. Either he could play guard or he could be a center. Because he's been doing it all this week at the Senior Bowl. So that would be a kid in the second round that I would definitely take. He reminds me a lot of a guy that actually came from North Dakota State, Trevor Penning, who ended up with the Saints, ironically. But everything about him, 6'5", 6'6", 315, and can move, and he got the hips and everything like that, and he got the hands to place and hit, and he's aggressive. Because what we need is some dogs up front that's gonna maul motherfuckers and say you my bitch, and we finna get this motherfucking dub. That's what we need up front. But then on that edge, man, I've been really impressed with 3 guys on defense, and Mike Green from Marshall, Josiah Stewart from Michigan, and then even a 3 technique named Aeneas Peebles from Virginia Tech. Now, he may not be the tallest person, but we need some guys with some quickness who can get back there to play along with Javon and Big Bills, man. that could be a steal. His body type and everything about him, really, like the way he moves, reminds me of Geno Atkins, but a quicker version of him. Same weight, not necessarily the same height, but the dude, he'll be one of those late round picks who I think could actually pan out and do something in the league, man. And just looking at everything, we could get another pick accumulated from your boy going to Jacksonville. I don't know if he's gonna actually go there or if the top two tackles not there, we can trade back and accumulate some more picks. So with this whole draft, and if you look at the history of it, Brian Poles and them guys, they love guys from the Senior Bowl, man. And I wouldn't be shocked if we get at least 3, maybe 4 players from there. But as always, guys, love your input. Let me know what you think. Chi-Town up, bear down.
All right. Shout out to Keys. Cdub. What you got for us, dog?
Hey, shout out to Keys. It seems like you definitely did your due diligence. First, I want to talk about Grace Zabel, a North Dakota State offensive lineman. You say he a swing lineman, an inside lineman. You say he could play guard and center. And you know what I like about this guy is that he played for this smaller team. And that means that he's going to play his absolute hardest each time because he's in a school where everybody discounts them because they're not like one of the top schools like a LSU and a Georgia like that. You can sometimes find diamonds in the rough like that, like a Gray Zabel. I like his measurables at 6'5", 315. Now, most people will be looking at those traditional schools like Georgia and shit like that. But sometimes you can find those guys who, you know what I'm saying? It's just things happen and they have to settle for certain schools. And they got the best work ethic, the best drive, because they got that. I want to show these guys that they missed out. So that might be a good job on there. And the Senior Bowl, the Bears always, you know what I'm saying, get somebody from the Senior Bowl. They always find themselves impressed with somebody from the Senior Bowl. We'll see what happens with that. But great job, Keys. You did a absolute great job with your due diligence, big dog.
For sure. I respect it a lot. Me personally, look at the Senior Bowl. But however, I don't necessarily think Ben Johnson is going to be focusing or caring too much about the Senior Bowl. Cdub, here's some draftees that participated in the damn Senior Bowl. Braxton Jones, Vegas Jones, Tyler Scott, goddamn, who's the other fella that I just ran across? Tyson Bagent was there. Not too many hits. I'm just saying, not too many hits. So it's either that they paying attention to the wrong prospects or you're paying attention to the wrong prospects. I'm just saying.
That's the two choices.
One or the other. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, I'm not discounting guys that participate in the Senior Bowl because I like that. These guys spent a lot of time in the college realms. These are mature young men trying to make it to the NFL, and you know that some of these guys are trying to rise their draft stock. But I look at Braxton Jones, Vegas Jones, Tyler Scott, a couple more other players like, okay. Find the guys that actually has good film already in college. You know what I'm saying? You don't necessarily have to ignore the Senior Bowl. You know what I'm saying? But do your due diligence. Now, if my man's from North Dakota State is like that, we'll find out. Because there is a defensive end that played with Javon Dexter. I can't remember that hard ass last name, but he from Ole Miss. He transferred from Florida to Ole Miss. But he played with Javon Dexter. Hell of a pass rusher. But just look at the right guys. That's all I'm saying. Look at the right guys. And I think that Ben Johnson might come in with a different philosophy. We'll see if Ryan Post follows that because from the draft selections that he's made in the past, you can tell that he listened to Eberflus. When you talk about Terrell Smith being drafted, you talk about Javon Dexter being drafted, Zach Pickens being drafted, and we can go on with a number of players too. So I think that Ryan Post is absolutely going to listen to Ben Johnson. So we'll get to learn what his philosophy is for sure.
You hit it right on the head, big dog. I was just listening to you school me. But Karan, did he play in the Senior Bowl?
I don't know. No, I think he was injured at that time.
Okay.
But I would imagine that he would have probably been there.
He was injured during that time and when we draft him.
For sure. But we appreciate you, kids. It's interesting to see. And we're going to keep on doing our due diligence to make sure we understand what these prospects are looking like. And we're going to be able to give y'all good, great quality content on some of these players coming up here soon. Appreciate you, dog. But I see Dub trying to get into the next one. This next one is from Damien.
Damien.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Dugar from Edgefield, South Carolina. Been a while since I called in. This on the hire. I think it's a good hire. He will bring Caleb Williams along very well. And like I told you, I don't know if y'all remember. I said this is the second year for Caleb to pop, and you got a offensive minded coach. Whether it was defense or offense, but you got an offensive minded coach that can channel that inner greatness that Caleb got in there. But I think it's a great hire. One of the hires that I want to concentrate on, I think I heard y'all talk about it a little bit. One was Randall L. and the four receivers. Out of the four receivers that I think he don't help make a big jump is Scott and Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze, he had a horrible rookie year. A lot of you see on film, a lot of the stuff he was half speed, half dragging, like he didn't know where he was at. I heard a lot of people saying could have been because it was crowded at the receiver. That ain't no excuse. We got this second year coming up. He got to make up and make that decision of picking him when the bad decision instead of getting the offensive lineman that we should have got. I said we should have got instead of Rome Odunze. My bad. Sorry for messing his name up. But what y'all think about that? I think being Randall L., the type of receiver he was, he wasn't a superstar receiver, but he was one of the ones, little receiver, work hard, hit his job. One of the ones he could stay through a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, to Hines Ward. I'm thinking, man, he can channel that inner wheel with Scott and make Rome Odunze go to that elite level where we think the reason why we picked him. That's pretty much what y'all got to say. What y'all think on that? I think the Bears will get to the second round of the playoffs next year. Harold.
All right. So we heard from Damien.
I'm afraid of monsters.
My man's tried to say Chi-Town up and bear down, but
Shout out to Damien, bro.
Shout out to Damien for sure. Well, real quick, Randall L., I think that he'll have a tremendous effect on Rome Odunze. Me personally, I think Rome Odunze, with the subtraction of Keenan Allen, is going to thrive. I think that DJ Moore is a guy that you're going to be able to utilize in multiple positions like he was in his first year with the Chicago Bears and like how he was in Carolina. I think that Ben Johnson is a creative mind to understand that this is now your Amon-Ra St. Brown with a little bit more strength. So you got to be able to utilize this guy and DJ Moore, who is a Pro Bowl wide receiver in my mind, who is an all-pro wide receiver type in my mind. I think that he'll be able to thrive in a type of system that Ben Johnson is getting ready to craft for the team. And I think Randall Well was a huge part of that. And I think I said it last season. The Bears need more speed in their routes. You need a guy to push the safeties away so you can open up the middle of the field. That is Tyler Scott. That is DeAndre Carter. He went down with an injury. We wanted to see a little bit more of him, but you got to have that speed. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Chicago Bears draft another speed wide receiver later in the rounds. That's how I feel about it.
First, I want to touch on, you said he had a horrible season. I don't think he had a horrible rookie season in Rome Odunze. Maybe he could have done a little bit better, but 54 receptions, 734 yards and 3 touchdowns, 13.6 completion average. That ain't horrible, is it? I don't think that's horrible.
It's not that bad.
That's not bad. And when in regards to Randall L, who he can help, absolutely he can help Roma Dunze. I need to see more than two routes from Roma Dunze. He either
Facts.
got a deep route or he got like a reverse or a screen or something. I need more in his bag. I think he can help Scott. We can get him on the field. And for bonus, for extra credit, let's clean up on DJ Moore. I see far too many times when less than cornerbacks are kind of staying with DJ Moore and Caleb Williams looking for him to get open, and he has to, you know what I'm saying, look for other people. So just to clean up, give him a little bit. DJ Moore don't need a lot. He just need a little bit. Because you know who I liken DJ Moore to? A young Hines Ward.
Okay.
So, I think they played together a little bit, Randall L. and Hines Ward. Maybe you can put a
They
little
did.
bit of that into DJ Moore.
I think that's interesting for sure. But shout out to Damian Cdub. Now it's time to holler at my guy who's black yet again.
Marifa,
Here's that voicemail from a reefer.
my boy.
Bobby Cdub. Hey, them cognac boys. What's happening, fellas? It's your man, Marifa Assad. Black yet again, man. Listen, I want to talk about, man, Caleb Williams and his evolution to becoming a professional quarterback. That's right. You heard it first. A professional quarterback in the NFL. Now, Ryan Poles said it at the press conference after he hired Ben Johnson. He said he want to see Caleb Williams become a more professional quarterback. Now, they watched Jaden Daniels take his team all the way to the NFC title game as a rookie. Now, that's a large statement to make about your quarterback that you drafted number one overall, that he's not playing professionally at the NFL level. Now, Ryan Poles is about to go out here. He already got the head coach in place. He's about to go out here and he's going to get a better offensive line. He's going to pay for and draft a better offensive line, and he's going to pay for and draft a better defensive line. So Caleb Williams ain't got no more excuses, man. He got to get into the system. He got to grind in the off season and become a better professional quarterback. That means all of that running around and that jumping in the air, throwing at the last minute while you're going out of bounds, that's over with. You got to play in the pocket. You got to see your man go through your progression, 1, 2, throw the ball within 2 seconds. 2 seconds, that ball got to come out. Now, Ben Johnson, he likes to play action and run that ball. Now, we're going to see if Caleb can play within rhythm. And he can throw that ball in rhythm like a professional quarterback and dump it down to the tight end, dump it down to the running back if he needs to get some 5 to 7 yards so he put himself in manageable third down and distance instead of taking them sacks and holding on to the ball too long. Now, we're going to see. All the excuses going to be over for Caleb. He's going to have to step his game up and perform. Now, I expect nothing less than that. But I'm going to get up out of here, man. I got a place to go. I got people to see. But you know what I'm going to say before I leave? It's Chicago up and bet out, baby. FCD. Let's go.
Y'all heard him. Let's go. But real quick, I just got something real quick. Marifa, Jared Goff last season, average release time was 2.58 seconds. That was 14th in the league. I don't necessarily think that Caleb Williams is going to be faster than that. I think it's going to be on par with that. Maybe a little bit faster, but it's not going to be at the top of the league. He's not going to be Tua Tagovailoa to where everything has to be on time. I think that you do want Caleb Williams to play within structure, but you don't necessarily want to take away his superpower. The superpower is getting out of the pocket. We got to recall out of the pocket versus Seattle, pass touchdown to Roma Dunze. Beautiful pass. Beautiful off script touchdown pass. You will see some of those. But I agree with you. You do want Caleb Williams to play within structure. And I will say this about Jaden Daniels before Cdub takes it away. CJ Stroud had an incredible rookie season.
Talk to me.
Tape was out.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't bad, but it wasn't incredible this season. Jaden Daniels has already been called to the forefront from one of the Kelsey brothers and a Super Bowl champion in Travis Kelce. Hey, I want to see you do it again. So I'm sitting right here staying white with Travis Kelce. I want to see it again now that the tape is out. Can you still perform as a top 5 quarterback? I'm not picking him top 5, but the performance was top 5. You know what I'm saying? Or at least top 10 at a minimum. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that's a great point, nephew. And I'm agree with nephew. You definitely want to get a more professional. I think he had an exceptional rookie season. But I'm with nephew. You do not want to take that superpower. That what makes Caleb Williams who he is. That off platform, off the wrong foot, people hanging on you. He's going to need that on sometimes. You want him to be like Jared Goff? If he's not in the system, Jared Goff is nothing. If he's not playing within the system, I want you to take this ball needs to be out in 2 seconds to this guy. And if Jared Goff misses that, it's over. He's done. He has no other recourse. We do not want to take what makes Caleb Williams a football star and a football player, and we don't want to take his superpowers, bro. Don't do that. But he definitely needs some tuning, though. He definitely needs some tuning.
For sure. I agree with that. But hey, we about to get into this last one. This last one is from Thaddeus. Here it is.
Hey, what's up, fellas, man? This is Thaddeus, man, from the south side of Chicago, West Chatham, right by 79th Street, Red Line. They call it the Bloodline. Man, I am so hyped up, man, about the Bears this season. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, man, they just picked up the offensive line coach from Notre Dame. Come on, man. The Bears just picked, man, that's all. Look, we are set, bro. I mean, no, what I'm saying, okay, no. I'm going to say the foundation is set, okay? Because Caleb Williams took all those sacks, 68 damn sacks? Come on, man. And he was still able to walk after that shit? Come on, man. We are set now because I'm going to tell you something, man. That coach they got from Notre Dame, man, that dude is nice. Notre Dame always had a decent line. So, I mean, this is Ben Johnson ain't playing. And if they could use some of that cap money, man, get like a Trey Smith, and get that center from New Orleans, man. Oh man, we'll be straight. And use Sheldon for a backup. Man, we all right. Use Clare for a backup, man, and draft, man, like 3 offensive linemen and maybe a defensive end. I mean, personally, man, if to me, when the draft comes, if those the 2 best offensive linemen are gone, I would say, man, take at that number 10, take the best defensive lineman or defensive tackle, and then you'll be straight there. And then the rest of the picks, second round, just get offensive linemen, and just get those 2 free agents, man. But man, you can have somebody coach. I'm not saying that the Bears is gonna win the North, but damn sure we're gonna compete in that bitch, man. I mean, straight up, man. I mean, I'm kind of hyped up about this move because that was the one position. Coach that I was really kind of concerned about because they hadn't hired an offensive line coach, man. But now they got one from Notre Dame, man, and he's decent. He's decent, man. He's real decent. Check it out, man. I mean, he has that pipeline where he can talk to other, players, man. And he probably recruited half of them that's in the league now. So, man, I don't know, man. I'm just stoked about this, man. I just have a good feeling. I mean, I had a good feeling, when Justin Field was here, man, but now it's something different because it looks like the foundation is in place and they're making sound decisions and they're listening to their fan base. And one other thing, man, Ian Cunningham, man, I hope he gets that job because we need those draft picks. And who was the one in the Bears organization to even have that position open? What I mean by assistant GM, because that was very smart. And that was looking in the future just in case he gets.
For sure. So Thaddeus, it's a 3-minute limit. Otherwise, the voicemail will cut off. So we appreciate the call, my guy. Just real quick for me, we gonna compete, but how well will we compete? Are we gonna compete just to lose, or are we gonna compete just to win? That's all I want to know from Chicago Bears Nation. All right, and the head coaches. Now I will get a Chicago Bears this. They spinning that bag. To get Dennis Allen over here, you got to spin that bag. To get the defensive coordinator over here, I mean, that is the defensive coordinator, excuse me. To get the young offensive coordinator over here, you probably ain't have to spend that much, but you got to spend some bread. And I hope that the Chicago Bears do that due diligence and Ben Johnson do his due diligence on the right offensive line coach, because SEMO, Chris Morgan, step your bitch ass to the front for you was ass. I don't want to see another ass offensive line coach come up in here to where we can't see Braxton Jones thrive, because I think he's still going to be a part of the future. I could be necessarily wrong, but I still think he's a part of the future. Karan Abagaji, he looked unprepared. He was a raw talent coming in, but you knew that you had to rely on him, and you didn't coach him up well enough. Get a guy in here that can coach these big men, because we need these big men to put other people on their ass so we can pick up these easy yards on first and second down to make it a manageable third down to where you can go ahead and thrive. That's the type of game that you're going to need going through the season and in the playoffs. You're going to need your offensive linemen, and you're going to have to establish the run, and you're going to have to provide protection for game-winning drives and game-winning series throughout the game if you don't want to be a one-and-done playoff team at the very least. That's all I got.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bears, they're winning right now. They're winning in the game before the game start. The Chicago Bears must win this offseason for this franchise to go into the right direction, for we can go into the regular season. And so far, they seem to be in the lead. They're winning. Who they competing with? They competing with themselves and all the past failures that they have brought to the forefront for the Chicago Bears fans and themselves. And the game is halfway over. You got off season. You can go in free agents. You got the draft. It's a long battle. So we've won some battles, but the war is not won yet.
For sure.
So I liked all the moves we made, but it ain't done, y'all. So
that's a fact. We still got to see the product hit the field, because we thought that in preseason, 2 screen passes for DJ Moore and Khalil Herbert to the house. We on.
We on this,
and them motherfuckers got smacked, and we was on damn near life support. This family was almost torn apart.
Oh, bro. For real.
But for real. But hey, we appreciate all those that called in. Keeves, Damian, Marifa, Thaddeus. We appreciate all y'all for calling in. Cdub, you got anything left?
Thanks for all the support. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe if y'all haven't already, bro.
We appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode. Go ahead and leave your feedback, comments, concerns down in the comment box below. Hit that like button as well and subscribe to the channel. If you want to be a part of the Mailbag episode, the number to do so is 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears. We appreciate y'all. We definitely gonna catch y'all on the next one. And as we end every episode, Chi-Town up and bet down, baby. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.